Welcome back. This week, the federal government warned foreign countries to stay clear of the nation's internal affairs. The warning came against the backdrop of foreign flags being flown during the ongoing protest against hardship in the country, especially in some northern states, including Kano, Kaduna, and Zamfara, and the arrest of some foreigners as sponsors of the protest. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, who gave the warning while briefing members of the diplomatic corps in Abuja, however, highlighted the importance of cordial international relationships. Of course, right here to discuss this with me today, I've got Olufemi Lawson, the Senior Special Assistant to Ondo State Governor on Public Enlightenment. Good to have you on the show today.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. And I also have Nelson Ekujimi, ever vibrant political analyst. Good to have you here too.
Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to have the both of you here with me today, so we can have a very smooth sail going through the show. All right, Olufemi Lawson, let me start with you quickly. Now, does allowing foreign interference suggest a crack in our security system, and what or who can be blamed for this?
Well, we should be concerned because most of the issues around the protest, which has exposed some of these scenarios being witnessed, are actually issues of internal concerns, issues of our economy, issues of internal security, issues of the citizens' welfare. And the moment we begin to get to that point, that citizens are not only flying flags of countries, not just ordinary countries, but countries which have been known to interfere in the governance, not even in young democracies like ours, but even in older democracies, including the United States. We know the role of Russia, according to reports, during the last the previous presidential election in the United States, one of the most matured so-called democracies in the world. And the fact that, at that point, we have seen citizens even calling for military intervention in our current polity, then I think it will not be proper for any government to sit back and just consider this as mere, part of demonstrations, but rather something that must be taken seriously, especially when you understand that, what was ordinarily meant to be a very civil, organized civilian process, peaceful protest, became so violent at some point, became so tough to the extent that we saw reports of how people were being paid to participate in that protest. So government must be concerned, and I think it should give every Nigerian who knows how far we have come to attain this democratic journey serious concerns.
All right. Well, Nelson, Olufemi just hinted that we should not just overlook this and call it just mere demonstration. Now, from your perspective, these foreign flags were mostly captured in some parts of the north. Is this to say there's a failure on the part of the northern leaders towards their people in not giving them enough enlightenment to understand the gravity of what they did or what they intend doing moving forward?
Well, I want to take us back to the alert issued by the Department of State Services before the so-called protests, where the DSS warned and alerted Nigerians that this protest was sinister, it had violent undertone, and it also had foreign influence. And everything the DSS alerted Nigerians about came to play in the protest. So it's not about failure of leadership in the north. It was a deliberate ploy by those who organized the protest, because as I speak, I remember very well that on the second day of the protest, the Inspector General of Police, held a press conference where he said his invitation to the organizers of the protest still remains open. And as we speak, we don't know the real organizers, even though some, like we say in our local parlance, Mogbomoya, are trying to claim ownership. Mogbomoya is somebody who just plays into your party or into your event. So this flying of flags, we were warned about it. Even the Nigerian police, a day to the so-called protest, because a lot of us knew that as much as we know we had economic challenges, we're also suspicious that some persons were trying to make political capital out of it. And that was exactly what happened, because you saw protests degenerate to flying flags of foreign countries, calling on the military to come and take over governance. That was an assault on the sovereignty of Nigeria, and it is unacceptable. All
right, quickly, before I round this off with Olufemi. Now, we understand that foreign fingers have been spotted throughout Africa, because sometimes, too, it may seem they only seek to exploit anywhere they set their foot on. Now, after this episode, what do you think can be done to further rectify things and to avoid a repeat?
Well, the security agencies have made arrests, and the Chief of Defense Staff said they are going to investigate and ensure that every perpetrator behind this, because we all saw that actually this assault on our sovereignty was sponsored, and the foreign influence cannot be ruled over. Don't forget that Nigeria is the chairman. Nigeria heads the Economic Committee of West African States as we speak. And the Economic Committee of West African States is at the forefront of the clamor for return to civilian democracy in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. And those, if you look at the history of those three countries in the last couple of months, you can link where the influence of flying those flags might have come from.
Okay.
So one expects that the security agencies as well as the government, even though arrests have been made, will ensure that the law take its course on these persons and interests.
All right, Olufemi, before we round off this topic quickly, now, in a few seconds, what do you think should be done to further enlighten people on the dangers of even hoisting foreign flags in their own country, even though there is a demonstration?
A lot of people who have been involved in this are, in the real sense of it, ignorance of the implications. Even the sponsors, even though they know, would never let them know. And that is why we must deepen the citizens' government engagement. Particularly when you look at the role of the national orientation agencies. And I personally do not believe that every time we need to engage our citizens or enlighten them, we must push it to Abuja. And that is what the Ondo State government is currently doing. You must enlighten your citizens at your state level. States must also support the federal government by creating units to engage and enlighten the citizens. A lot of these citizens are not even aware of the implication of this. So we have a task on our hand beyond what national intention.
Bottom line, enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
All right. Now we'll go on a quick break right now, and of course, Newsweek continues in a moment. Stay with us.